back to my channel. I am Dia, this is Novel Idea, and today we are doing Friday Reads. So the first book that I was able to finish this week was Under the Lilacs, and I had been taking it a little at a time. It's such a sweet, sweet story, and I gave it an A. It's a 95%. It would have been higher if it would have been more of an adult book, but because I'm an adult and the book is not, I rated it a little bit lower than I would have otherwise. But I love the story. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's about a young boy who has basically grown up at the circus with his father. His father leaves to go find work in another state, and he is left in the care of the circus. And he has a dog. That's his circus act, is some dog trick type things that he does, and has been able to train this wonderful standard poodle for his act. However, in not being treated well, he runs away from the circus. It's so funny because usually people are running to the circus, not away from it. And so he runs away and is discovered by two young girls, and in a very funny way. And their mama says, well, this isn't good. We can't have him living on his own. He's got to come live with us. And so it is a book basically about all the antics that the three children and the dog get up to, and just learning to become part of a family. And so that is Under the Lilacs in a little nutshell. It's lovely. It's just a lovely, lovely story. You will not regret it if you choose to pick it up. The next book that I finished was The Ninth Rain by Jen Williams. And I loved this book. It is a fantasy, but I think that it encompasses a lot of different genres. So if you like science fiction, if you like paranormal, if you like fantasy, if you like a little bit of steampunk, this book encompasses all of those. And no one element of the book is like really unique, except for the fact that she combines these flawlessly. It is exceptional the way that she does it. So it just feels right. It never feels like you are really it feels appropriate. It feels like this is just the way this world is. We're going to have a little science fiction, we're going to have a little fantasy, we're going to have a little bit of paranormal in there, we're going to, have a witch, we're going to have all these other things. And it's like nothing I've ever read. It was very unique in the fact that these things are all combined. So it is a slow burn, which does not bother me at all. I love that. Set in a world that feels like it could be Earth, but it isn't necessarily Earth. She sets things up in the beginning, and the plot doesn't really hit you. It takes its time revealing the plot of everything, and I loved the reveal, that revealing little by little. I loved that. at the beginning, you are learning the lore of the world, and you're learning all these little elements of the way that society is set up, and who this tribe is and who this tribe is, and oh, it's that kind of people, and it's, you know, it's just a little dystopian, a little archaeological, a little fantasy. It's not an action-packed book, so if that's what you're after, this is not the book for you. And it's just like this little voyage of discovery. It maps out clues for you, and you get to follow those clues and like solve it. And so it's a really good balance of character-driven and character development, and then plot driven also. So it's got beautiful world building. I never felt that it was info dumpy. Part of it is in letters. It's not all of it, and it's not super often, but in those letters, sometimes the letters feel a little info dumpy, but for the most part, it's not like that at all. Multiple points of view. It is not hard to keep track of. It is not just multiple people, but multiple species or genus. And I absolutely loved it. And I gave this a 97%. I cannot wait to read The Bitter Twins. That's the next book in the series. And I am really looking forward to moving on with it as soon as possible. All right, the next book that I read was, or attempted to read, I DNF'd this book, and that was Popisho. And I heard about this on Shelley Swearingen's channel. She was reading it for one of the award lists. And when she described it, I thought, oh, this sounds like it's right up my alley. I think I would like it. Because it was, the way that she described it was that it was just very odd, and that it was a love story, but it wasn't like a typical love story. And the cover was intriguing, all of that kind of thing. So I was thinking, this is for me. But I got about 80% through this book, and I was thinking, I don't care about these characters. I don't really love the story. I'm not even totally sure I understand the story. And then on top of that, I was avoiding it. Like, I usually read multiple books at one time, but I have like this thing, you know, where I'm working my way through all of them pretty much equally. And I just didn't care. I didn't want to go back to it. I was like avoiding it. And so I thought, this is ridiculous. So I DNF'd it. So that's my thoughts on Popisho. The next book is Shorefall. This is by Robert Jackson Bennett. It's the second book in the, is it Foundry Side trilogy? Founders trilogy? Maybe Founders trilogy. And Foundry Side is the first book. And I gave this a 92%. I gave Foundry Side the same score when I went through it. So I enjoyed these books. They're both A- books. But the first book didn't feel as contrived. Yeah, didn't feel as contrived as this book did. Shorefall felt more like a good versus evil, a creator versus creation kind of story, whereas Foundry Side felt much more political, and it felt it was dealing more with like social caste and those systems, hierarchy kind of thing. And so it felt almost like a different story in many ways. The magic system is the same. We have the same characters. We are in the same world, but because the plot of this book was so completely different than the first book, at least that's what it felt like to me. Maybe if you guys have read the book, please let me know how you felt about it, because I'm by no means an authority on these kinds of things. But yeah, I enjoyed the high stakes of this, and so it felt more fast paced than the first one did. But it was, and I am going to go on. There's one more book. It's called Locklands, and I don't know if it's out yet, but it's coming out soon if it's not out yet. And it's supposed to finish up this trilogy. And I'm anxious to find out exactly how this is going to finish, because the ending of this book had me going, really? That's the trope you're going to use? That's the trope you're going to end on? It just felt it felt contrived. So anyway, overall, A-, 92%. Not a bad book, just a little less enjoyable than I was hoping for. Okay, the next book was another DNF. You guys, I said at the beginning of this month, because my birthday is next week, and I just wanted to read things that I knew I was gonna love. And so every time I pick up a book though, I honestly think, I'm gonna love this. I can't wait to read it, And I picked up the Atlas 6, which I said that I was gonna do the last video. I said I would probably be picking that up. I'd gotten it from the library, and I got a little over 50% of the way through, and let me just say, I was looking forward to this book because every time I read a synopsis about it, every time I heard the author speak about it, it just felt like this was going to be my kind of story. It was a mysterious society. It was a magical library. It was a school setting. It was debating power between the characters. There was supposed to be debate, which, what power means. Is it worth it? All of those kinds of things. The Western colonization of information is a phrase that the author used in an interview. And to me, this just, rewriting history from a white perspective, from a westernized perspective, and young characters being shaped by experiences and tragedies, and having to deal with coming into their powers, all of that kind of thing felt very much like it was just right up my alley. And so all the right pieces, all the right portions, all of the right parts seemed to be there, but the math was not adding up. It felt like the movie version of the 2000s TV show, or late 90s TV show called Roswell. There were just these angsty teenagers that would, they would love, they would fight, they would hate each other, they would make out, they would, you know, and it was with aliens. And this felt like that, only substitute magic people for aliens. Yeah. The library wasn't even coming into like its own character kind of thing. We weren't dealing with them developing their powers to become protectors of the magical library, which is what it was basically about. Yeah, 50% through, I just tossed it out the door because I just was like, no, this is not living up to everything that it was saying it was going to do. And so I got rid of that. And then I read Gathering Moss by Robin Kimmerer. And this is the same author that wrote Braiding Sweetgrass, which I absolutely loved. I think that book was like a 98%. It was a fabulous read. I love Braiding Sweetgrass, so I was looking forward to Gathering Moss, and it didn't disappoint me. It did not disappoint me. I gave it a 96, so it's not quite as high of a score as Braiding Sweetgrass was, but it was still a very alluring call by someone who is a scientist. How is a scientist so eloquent with prose? It's just this very beautiful call to be aware, to notice, to delve deep, to find, to be present, and to pause. And all of that based around moss. If going into this, if you would have told me that I would become invested in a book about moss, I would have laughed. But I was totally invested. It was absolutely beautiful. I loved it. So those are all the books that I read this week. I had 2 DNFs and 4 that I finished, and then I am in the middle of a few, and so I'll tell you about those real quick, and then I'll tell you about the ones that might be coming up after I finish these, because a couple of them I'm pretty close to. So I started reading Call of the Boneships, which is the second one in the Boneships saga by R.J. Barker? R.J. Barker? I think so, R.J. Barker. And I loved the first one, and so I was so ready to read Call of the Boneships. He does a great job, and I love the very subtle magic in these books. So Call of the Boneships, I'm probably going to finish that today. And then also Paradise Lost by John Milton. This is it's a reread for me, but it's been since my kids were in high school, I think. So 2006 maybe was the last time that I read it. And it is poetry, in case you guys aren't familiar with Paradise Lost. It's a classic. It's absolutely lovely. It's a Bible story. It's more than one Bible story. And I'm loving revisiting it. So I'm probably about 10% of the story left before I finish that one up. I started Named of the Dragon. I'm only just a couple of chapters in on that one, by Susanna Kearsley, and I told you about that one last week. that was the other one that I was thinking about picking up with Atlas 6. And so far it's very Kearsley. I'm enjoying her writing. I don't, like I said, it's just a couple of chapters so far, so I don't know exactly where it's going to go or what is going to happen, but I'm enjoying the process. So I have 2 books that I picked up at the library that could be possibilities for books to pick up after I'm done with Call of the Boneships and Paradise Lost. And those are Nettle and Bone, and that one is by Kingfisher. And I'm not even sure exactly what it's about. I just heard somebody speak about it that I really like, and so I thought, well, I'm going to pick it up if I can, and so I did. And then Master of Poisons is the other one, and I know that Angela from Literature Science Alliance is the one that I heard about this from, and I don't know what to expect other than I know that there's magic and that it's a unique magic system, and that she really liked it. Angela really liked it. And this one is by Hairston, is what I have written down, but I don't know the first name. So anyway, those are my week ahead. And like I said, my birthday, I think, is on Tuesday. 24th is when my birthday is, and so this next week I don't know how much reading I'm gonna get done because my son's birthday is the day before mine. So, and I'm gonna have my grandson for part of the time, and so yeah, I don't know how much reading I'll get done this next week, but I have had a wonderful reading month so far. Thanks guys for coming back to the channel. Thank you for being here with me and wanting to hear what I have to say about these books. I always appreciate when you guys comment in the box down below and let me know what you think about them. Let's have conversation. That's why I'm here. I love that. And so go ahead and give it a thumbs up if you like this video, and subscribe if you want to. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everybody. Have a great weekend.